In this video, I am going to cover how my client went from working a 9 to 5 and being vastly unhappy with herself to losing a ton of weight, leaving her 9 to 5, traveling to Morocco for 6 months and making 5k plus a month every month. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear roadmap of some of the steps that you need to take in order to actually leave. And if you're considering tuning into this video, maybe you're thinking about leaving your 9 to 5, maybe you're looking at like, okay, cool, I've got a coaching business, I want to work out how I can go from making this part-time to my full-time income and also build myself along, because it's both internal and external. You've got the business taking off, but you've also got yourself stepping into a different version of yourself. So with that said, if you don't know who I am, I'm Luke Ganning. I help new dating and relationship coaches start, grow, and travel, and we help people make results like $10,000 in their first 40 days, or we work with them for free. And I also run a top 2% podcast. So with that said, let's get into it. This is one of my past clients, Lorna. Now I wanted to bring to you guys' awareness that this result is actually wild, because this is before I actually came out with the offer of I help clients 10,000x their sales. This was before I officially started business coaching, consulting, and mentoring, and combining all those into make it one badass hybrid to make sure that people get results. So Lorna actually came on board with me for fitness and mindset whilst I was a fitness and mindset coach. But we transformed her life so well, and we ended up hitting a few business systems along the way that she just had an incredible result, like absolutely phenomenal. So I'm in this video gonna cover kind of 3 points that took Lorna from here having the body transformation of her life to feeling extremely present, loving her current reality, having a healthy relationship with food, using exercise and as a form of self-care, being happy in her own skin, confident, full of self-love, living with her purpose, and dedicating every day to work on her physical, spiritual, and mental health, to going full-time with her business and traveling and being full-time in Morocco. She was there for 6 months, like crazy stuff, amazing transformation. And it was absolutely incredible to see her do that. So you're probably thinking in this video, okay, so I may be in my 9 to 5 or I may be making around 2 to 10k a month right now, but how the hell does all of this work? Like, I hear some things from one coach, I hear some things from another coach, and I'm really here to tell you that we're gonna kind of skip the bullshit and give you the things that you actually need. Because you can listen to a ton of podcasts, you can listen to a ton of different Instagram lives, 100 different strategies, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a clear thing for you that works, it's all obsolete. It's all obsolete. So the first thing that we did with Lorna, and this is before I officially called it neuroidentity, was building a neuroidentity. Because what you've got to understand is when you work, zoom in a bit, when you work a 9 to 5, or you're earning from 2 to 10k a month, or maybe you're super inconsistent with those 10k months, which is probably worse than earning 5k a month, you have an identity attached to that. And that identity is limited. Can we agree? Can we agree that the identity is limited? You have limited concept of what it takes to be a real entrepreneur, what it takes to build a real coaching business. And the cons of that is you end up staying in your comfort zone. You don't take bold action. Because the pros of having a 9 to 5, or the pros of having a 9 to 5 is that you have a stable income, which is fine. is absolutely fine if that's what you want to do for the rest of your life. But at the same time, in order to be an entrepreneur, you've got to take risks. But what you've also got to realize about risk is, like, it's a risk. It's a risk you breathing. It's a risk you staying in your job, because you could be let go at any moment. How many people thought that they were stable and secure, and then COVID happened, and then suddenly they weren't? And recessions happen, and how often do people get let go? So I think it's actually a bigger risk staying in your 9 to 5 than it is taking on board your own adventure. Because when you stay in your 9 to 5, you're limited. You don't expand your friendship group. You do the same thing every weekend, just a slightly different thing. And you're limited in your earnings unless you work in sales. So you're limited in your earnings. Maybe you get a bonus each year, but like, is it anything in comparison to what you can do in entrepreneurship as a coach? Because here's the crazy thing, like, as a coach, if you have the right offer, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you can make anywhere from 2 to 10K in one day. In one day. I literally made $12,000 in one day the other day. So you can make this in just a day. But if you don't take the risk of growing here, and you stay in your 9 to 5, or you stay in your comfort zone, then you don't get that. And the long-term cost of that is you end up lying on your deathbed on the last day on earth thinking, what the hell did I do with my life? And that's not where I want to see you guys, and that's why you're on this video, because you don't want that, right? Now, what's also key about building a neuro identity, like I just said, is your vision. So I'm going to just get rid of my drawings real quick. It's having a big vision. So I see this all the time. I speak to people all the time. And not only do people like Lorna, they have a big vision. So it's not just leaving the 9 to 5. It's I'm leaving the 9 to 5 to travel to Morocco. We'll just put Morocco. But I'm leaving the 9 to 5 to travel Morocco and go full time with my business. That's a completely different vision to just, I'm going to leave the 9 to 5. Because whatever you believe in, God, the universe, the vortex, the big chief, whatever, it's not going to give you something if you don't have something on the other side. And also, when you have something on the other side, that's going to give you purpose, because you're working towards something. People always mix up purpose and think, oh, I need to align with my purpose. But it's like, no, purpose is simply you just growing yourself into a different version of yourself. And in order to grow into a different version of yourself, you need to have a goal. You need to have an objective, right? Where are you moving towards? Then that way your identity shifts, your beliefs and values shift, your capabilities expand because you start doing different things, your behavior shifts, and then your environment shifts. So it's top down. Everybody tries to change environment first. They're like, oh, let me just leave my 9 to 5 and then I'll do it. But it's like, no, like, I've been out here in Colombia, and I know people who've traveled out here to work on their business and to grow into this big thing, and they haven't done anything because they haven't been moving towards a true purpose. They haven't had a clearly defined goal. So that's one of the key things about having a neuro identity. It's building all these different things. The second thing that was key for Lorna was energy and attention management. Now, why would this be so important? Well, because when you're used to having somebody define your life, and you've been working a 9 to 5, you're literally in a similar structure to school, right? Somebody tells you this is the time you need to be in, this is the work you need to do, and go do it, and then report at the end of the day. But when you step into being a coach, You need to then decide what are the most important activities for me to do on a daily with my limited time. And plus, we needed to work on energy and time management because she had a 9 to 5, right? So she needed to come through the process of coaching and do everything that they needed to do. That's why my process is set up so that if you have 2 hours a day, so that could be like half an hour in the morning, 20 minutes at lunch, an hour and a bit when you come home, you'll succeed in my program. You'll do everything that you need to do. And if you have more than 2 hours and you're full time, you're gonna literally crush it. Disgusting. Like Rita, like for example, like one of my clients, Rita, I haven't put her in here, but she quit her job 48 hours after signing up, and then made her first sale literally like the day after that. So came in, absolutely crushed it. She's got another 2 sales calls already booked this week, and she's only about 10 days into the process, so she's crushing it. But this is the same thing. You need to know as a coach, energy and time management. You need to not waste time building websites, because that's what maybe your certification had. But you don't need a website. You need to not waste time dropping into Facebook groups. You need to not waste time hopping on calls with other entrepreneurs and asking, did this work for you? Or what's working for you? Rather than just having a strategy built that actually works for you. So this is the key thing with time, energy, and attention management, is that we manage your energy specifically for you. And particularly if you're a woman, we need to align it with your menstrual cycle, which is what we did with Lorna, because your menstrual cycle is going to go up and down, right? And it's going to be on a monthly cycle for sure, but it's key that we align that with business activities appropriately, because if you don't, this is where you can, I don't really believe in burnout. I feel like burnout is when you genuinely just lose your purpose, and you're not doing things you enjoy. But at the same time, if we're doing the wrong business activities during the wrong time, so if you're trying to build an offer at 12 o'clock at night, your energy is going to be dead, right? But if you're doing that during that first few parts of the day, then that could be really effective for you. So it's key that you do the right business activities at the right time, and when you're starting, that you're only doing the things that actually matter, which we'll cover in a little bit in my sales which we'll cover in a little second with the third point here. Now the third point for Lorna to go from where she was here to going full time with her coaching business and traveling Morocco full time is having a world-class offer, effective marketing, and authentic aligned sales. Now why is this key? Well, this is the basics of business. The first thing that you need is to have a world-class offer, because if you don't have a world-class offer, people are going to go to everybody else that does a similar thing to you, or a bigger influencer with a bigger amount of following. But Lorna didn't have a ton of following when she got started, and neither do most of our clients. So how do we build a world-class offer? Well, simply take somebody from A to B. Because can you imagine buying into a high-ticket coaching practice and they didn't have a clear roadmap for your success? You'd be like, I don't know if this is going to work, and this is a bit of cash money to invest in this, right? So you've got to have a clear roadmap from A to B, maybe a week-by-week process, or a few key core pillars like we do for our clients. But if you don't have this, then it can get really complicated and it can get really confusing. And people think with having an effective marketing and drawn out authentic sales process like this is really complicated. They're like, this sounds so complicated. But on the flip side, can you imagine how complicated it would be to build a business without systems? Like, you're literally relying on luck. I couldn't imagine anything worse, because that's how I built my first 6 figures, without systems. It was stressful. I was working so much. I was not enjoying my life at all. I was a lie. I was enjoying my life. I was enjoying my life more than I was my 9 to 5. But it was stressful, not having systems. And you know what's crazy about Lorna's transformation as well? Because we hadn't fully dived into doing the business systems yet with her, she was able to do this without ads, without YouTube, without a VSL, and she was able to do it all with just fire content from Instagram and YouTube, call to actions, conversations, calls, offers, onboarding. So she was able to do it without these things. So imagine what would be possible if you had these extra things. Like the ads that we run with people, Rita booked her first client on the first day that we ran ads. So within like 24 hours. In December, I got a 43 return on my ad spend. That's 40 for every $1 in, I get $43 out. It's literally a cheat code because I know what I'm doing and I've been doing this for 3 years. We've had over 250 clients. So like you would think that I would have a proven process down, which we do, which is the same for Lorna. We had to build a proven process, a structured way for somebody to go from A to B. Because if you don't have this, you don't have systems. And if you don't have systems, you don't have a business. And if you don't have a business, then you're not living your purpose. And you're not doing what you were put on this earth to be. Now, I know you're not that person, so let's work towards that. So these are the 3 key elements that Lorna had to go from where she was, over here, to going full-time with traveling to Morocco. Now, you're welcome to check out my other content and build yourself a neuro identity and build energy and attention management and get yourself a world-class offer, effective marketing that works for you, and authentic aligned sales. And you may have even looked at this and said, oh yeah, Luke, but I already know that. But I also want to bring in an aspect of knowing, according to the OG, Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, if you don't know who he is, like, where have you been living? Are you under a rock? But Tony Robbins is the OG guru of personal development. He was mentored by the great Jim Rohn, and he has a concept as to the 3 levels of knowing. The 3 levels of knowing. So these first 3 levels. So we got cognitive mastery first. Now, cognitive mastery means you know of it. It's like, oh yeah, I know that thing, or I know what that does, or I know why that works. But this is also where people can have a really elevated ego, and you've got to kind of humble yourself, where people go, oh well, yeah, if I was doing that if I put some effort into that, then I would do this. It's like, no, because you've got cognitive mastery. You don't actually know how the process works. It's like you can look at this sales process and you can look at the conversations here, you can look at content and you can say, oh yeah, I know how to do that. But you don't know how to do it because it hasn't been done. Otherwise you would have received the results. So the second level is emotional mastery. This is when you start understanding the deeper levels and have a deeper connection with the thing that you're doing. This is when you have more of an emotional connection, more of the actions that you're doing become more automatic rather than just like actually having to put in effort to it. And this is where, you know, people might start a coaching program or they might start doing a strategy, but they don't follow through. So they only associate maybe pain and struggle with the thing. But actually, when you persist, you actually get to physical mastery. Physical mastery. And physical mastery is basically where you've reached a level where the actions become completely automatic. So this, we've got some become automatic. This level, completely automatic. We can do it on repeat. And we might even be able to hand off that task to someone else. So for example, once our clients reach 10K a month, they don't DM and edit their content anymore. They hand that off to an editor or admin assistant or a setter. And then eventually Once they move towards the 30 to 50k a month mark, we onboard a closer who basically closes sales calls, and setters set calls, and then editors create or they edit your existing marketing content. But in order to get the physical mastery, you have to first lower your ego and say, you know what, I don't actually know this thing. Now, you could, like I say, go through my YouTube content, build the neuro identity, build your energy and intention management, build a process from A to B, get some effective marketing, start building an aligned sales process, even look at this and say, okay, these are the things that I need to know. So you could do that yourself, for sure, and you can pay with time, and it may take you quite some time. So for example, my first 3 months of business, I only earned about $1,000. Or you could click the link below, schedule a call with me, and we can map out together on a call what this would actually look like for you, and we can see if it can possibly be a good fit for you. And then we can hit 10,000 in sales in our first 40 days. If not, I'll work with you for free until we do. Right? Some people have been in this business for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and haven't reached the 10k a month mark. Our clients do it faster than 40 days. We've had clients that do 20k in 40 days, like Kim. So it's entirely up to you. You can go and figure this out yourself, or you can invest in yourself like Lorna did, like our other clients have done, and get to your results faster. Like, think about it. 6 months from now, you could be traveling to Morocco, or you could be traveling to Colombia, or you could be traveling to Bali. But it only happens if, one, you surrender and think, you know what, I don't know all of this, even though Luke's mapped it out pretty well. And some of these things I may have, but some of them I don't have. So I want a little bit of guidance. So again, you can figure this out by yourself, pay with time, but I don't want you to end up on your deathbed thinking, what the hell did I do in my life? Or the worst thing, I don't want you to quit on this because you try and figure it out by yourself and you try and be cheap. If you're genuinely looking at this thinking, I want a bit of this, I want to travel, I want to grow, then book in a call down below. But with that said, I hope you really enjoyed this video. Drop in the comments what your favorite point was, and if you want to book in a call down below, or you want to explore what this might look like for you, click the Calendly link, fill out the application in detail, and we'll have a quick chat. But with that said, make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.